Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back to some more bite-sized business advice at lunch. And I have a special guest with me today. This is a cool episode. So we don't do a lot of episodes like this. We got a success story today. And in chatting with my guest here, who I'll introduce in just a second, she already checked all the boxes. First and foremost, she is an inventor, a product designer. And the key to her story that I selfishly picked out was she started with the question, what if? That's our company name. That's why I love her already. What if? That is the foundation for all great discoveries in business. So enough about me talking about myself. Let me welcome my guest on, and so we can dive into this amazing episode. Liz Holland, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm excited. So we were talking before we started recording here. You have one of the coolest products I think I've ever seen. And it's a blanket, but it's not your everyday blanket. And you're modeling it for us if you're watching this interview too.
Basically, it's a throw blanket, but it's a little bit bigger than a throw. Throws don't fit me at all. But the best part of it is it has hand and feet pockets. My feet are kind of on the screen. And so the hand pockets are especially good because I made a finger and thumb opening so I can pick up anything, drink my water, read my book with my hands warm. Especially like a book, you've got it up in there. So gravity is making blood flow down and your hands are often very, very cold, or holding your iPad or doing anything really. So when I first invented this, I was like, there's got to be, in the history of time, a blanket that addresses warming the extremities. Because if you don't warm the extremities, it's really impossible to be warm. You can be wrapped up head to toe, and if your hands and feet are still cold, it doesn't do anything. You still feel cold. Your system is tense. Your nervous system particularly is tense. And about 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, which means my senses are super sensitive. And I knew that I was triggered by a lot of things, but I didn't know it was a real thing. I thought it was just me being flawed or whatever. My feedback in life was, what's your problem? Get over it. So,
Healthy.
So, with that diagnosis, I realized, wait, I've been making things my whole life to live in this body, which is a very challenging body. And so, what should I should start a company to help people. I've made so many things. I have so many things in the pipeline, even more of this product in the pipeline. But I chose this product because it was such a universal experience, being cold. Most people can have experienced that in their life. They know how it feels and, how tight you feel when you're just shivering and you're freezing. And so in the product search, not a single one. So we knew we were good to go. And my initial vision for my company was to shine a light on sensory processing disorder. And I still want to do that so people understand that. But as I got product and I was using it and people bought the product, we found that it's so much bigger than just getting warm or shining a light on the SPD. It's for anybody that has a nervous system. We all get triggered. We get triggered by all kinds of things. Living in this world these days, we're triggered. So much going on between women's rights and global warming and politics and the whole nine.
You just said all the trigger words in one sentence. Thank you for getting us canceled. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just like, what do you do with all of this stuff coming at you? It seems to me, maybe I remember a sweeter time, but there's so much more road rage out there and you feel it. People, it affects you. So my request to anybody that buys products or even listens here is start checking in with your nervous system. It's most people don't. And if they do, they don't know they think they are stuck with it. It is what it is. But my request is maybe you're not stuck with it. Maybe you can develop tools. I have many because I constantly have to check my nervous system and make sure I catch things before they domino. Because in this body, if I have a big domino, if I like, oh, I should be, why is this bugging me? It should be fine. It shouldn't be bugging me. And I dismiss what's going on in my body, then I easily, the rest of my senses, things get much more on high alert, and things that might not trigger me get triggered because I'm having a domino effect. So check in. And if you have this product, check in before you wrap yourself up, check in again after you wrap yourself up, and see if there's a difference in your nervous system. And what I discovered, and I didn't even kind of plan for this, is it's like an adult swaddle. And that's why it does this, because you get wrapped up, you get your hands and feet in, you're completely enclosed head to toe. And like, it's like this instant feeling. And there's a reason we swaddled our babies, because it worked. And I have a cozy, which is a child size version. And they love putting their little hands and feet in. And I love the name because it's, Mommy, can I have my cozy? It's such a great name for that one. And so it's just like, this is a beautiful thing that can help anybody with the nervous system, and help shine a light on sensory processing disorder too. It's still a vision of mine because it's kind of a new thing, and most the information you can find as an adult is all for children. When I came out, there was only one book, nothing on the internet for adults, and so we've gathered the best information in that time on my website to more about it, learn about SPD. What is SPD? I forget the tab, but it's obvious when you see the tabs on my website. And so it's just perfect. I love this product. People get it instantly. They see me just demonstrating it and they're like, oh yeah, I get it. That could really help. And it's not even just for people that get cold. That's where, when you discover it as a tool, like the hand pockets have a little bit of weight here. So if I'm typing and I don't want my hands in the pocket, some people type with their hands in, but too many typos for me. So, you can hang it like this and it stays on your shoulders. You can put your hands and feet in and out, because overheating, as we were talking about, can be harder to solve than getting warm. If the air is hot and you're hot and you can't settle it, you can't get cool, that's harder to solve. So for me, I have a very narrow window. So I'm constantly going in and out as I feel my feet warming up too much. Just before they're perfect, or just after they're perfect, they start to burn. So I have to take them out either perfect or before perfect, and so that I don't have this like burning sensation on my feet. Mine are it's so narrow that I have to use it like that. But some people are like, they put it on, they're like, why would anybody leave this? This is amazing. I never want to get out. And so they're like, yeah, that works too.
I love that. Now, the first part of your answer, you kind of glazed over it, but you taught a masterclass in starting a business, really. And I think that's fascinating. And I want to get back to that in a minute. Some of the key highlights were you had a vision that you were chasing. We teach that all the time. Without a vision, the people perish. That is foundational to running a business and having employees and being on the same team. But then another thing you said was, you didn't say it specifically, so I'm going to take it kind of out of your words and put it into my words. And it's something that's been coming up a lot recently, and I've heard it on the internet, is the riches are in the niches. And I argue that statement every single day, because what you said is you developed a product for this specific niche, SPD, right? The sensory processing disorder. And you backed out of that because it was too narrow, because everybody has the need, and the magic is there. The niche is in the need, not the industry or the disorder or the service. So I want to circle back to both of those things and how you got there. But I'm curious on the anxiety side of things, because as CEOs, business owners, leaders, we are susceptible to anxiety at maybe a higher level than most, and definitely our
I
employees, because
feel
we're
that.
making decisions.
There are days that I'm like, no, I'm too stressed. There's no way this is going to help. And then I get
Exactly.
in and I'm like, oh, it does. It doesn't solve all my problems, of course, but it helps me to go, okay. And when my nervous system is settled, I can get back on track with the vision. You
Yeah.
know,
And I'm curious, like
people have
for
asked me
you,
that, like, how do you pick yourself back up? When you make mistakes, and I'm like, yeah, you make a lot of them,
yes,
and
part of the
um,
deal.
that's part of the deal. But picking yourself back up and getting back on track is the key. And I've described it recently as a crutch. My crutch is my vision.
Hmm.
So, I can get back up when I get on track with that bigger vision. My bigger vision is like, if this helps a person, that's awesome, to do what I say, lower your nervous system, lower your anxiety, make you just feel better. That's good for them, obviously. It's going to be good for their family, going to be good for their visions. Like, in that space, you can start to connect with what's really important to you. And so I always am checking, probably many times a day, is what I'm doing right now in alignment with my vision? And, what can I do to narrow the gap? Here's my vision. Here's what's happening. What can I do to keep on narrowing the gap between what's actually happening and what my vision is? And I picture these, millions of these, on people around the world. And if we were able to lower that much, that many nervous systems where they get it, and they can, once you discover monitoring your nervous system, you're like, oh, when else does it happen? What do I need? What do I choose? What do I need? My animals, I think, for anybody that has a dog, that unconditional love is a very positive thing to making you feel better. Cats, making them purr on your lap, they're all like good, lowering your nervous system. But then there's specifics that are really good for you, and good for me. And so, I love that part. And I really do, when we get these into millions of people, my vision is to have that domino effect, that positive domino effect happen for people. Because we live in this crazy world. And so, like, we need we need to find ourselves first and foremost, and connect with the things that are important to us, every individual. No, whether you're starting a company or you're just living your life in a way that is more positive, that you're less stressed overall, and you have the time and energy to connect with what's important to you.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And I'm curious for, the people out there. Unfortunately, we can't live in blankets, but I think there's a ton. Well, maybe we should, but that's a different conversation.
Well,
Um,
people that work from home, I
yes,
have one at my
absolutely.
desk. I'm sitting in my couch position now. But, while I'm working at home, I don't have to heat up the whole house. I can
Mhm.
just wrap myself up. And so I'm saving money on my energy bills. And that's, the money is good, and the energy is good for us to not have to use that. And so, you can, to some degree, my future products
You
are for
should. That's Liz's message. Live in a blanket.
as much, especially at home. These aren't, you can wear this in your backyard, but the next product in the cozy line is the Cozy Cozy. And that's 100% waterproof on one side, totally snuggly on the other side. And so you can be a rainstorm head to toe, completely dry, and sitting on a wet bench, you know. And so there's ways to go with your cozies soon in the future. Makes the best picnic blanket ever, because it's waterproof on one side, so
Mm.
you don't, 15 minutes after you thought the grass was dry enough, you realized it wasn't dry enough. Or you're watching your kids sport, and the weather cools down quickly, and all of a sudden you're cold, or the kids are cold. Oops, I thought I had it in reach. I have a cozy gozy. It wraps up and rolls up in a roll and has a handle. So it's very easy. The elastic goes around it and you carry it away. And so we are addressing that to have these specific products in different aspects of your life. I even have a scarf version that, like in my bed, I'm comfortable with the covers, but if I'm reading, my hands are freezing. And it's kind of hard to bring this whole thing in, especially if I get too hot, which is more often than too cold. So with the scarf, I'm able to read my book and have my hands warm. So, or wear it out in the world, put your phone in it. There's just like all these practical ways that you can use this technology that is, it's patent pending. We expect it to be issued anytime. We've gone back and forth a little bit with the patent office, and so utility patent pending, and our trademarks are all in place. And so it's been, it's a lot of steps to be the entrepreneur and have all of this. You have to figure most of it out on your own and hire people to do the things you're not good at, but you have to understand the things you're not good at well enough to hire well and to have them, have them be able to understand the vision and come from that as well. There are just so many pieces to being an entrepreneur. I've been a product designer. My dad was an inventor. He was the forefather of the automatic warehousing systems industry, like huge refrigerated warehouse. So around the dinner table every night, it was, what did dad do today and how does it work? And the nitty gritty of the gears and the ball bearings and product names. He held over 100 patents. Wow. And so I got to work in the tennis industry, which is awesome. I love, love, love tennis myself. I'm currently playing the best tennis of my life, even though I started at age 6. And, I've just gotten better and better, and I'm still getting better. It's really fun. So getting to work for the tennis industry and designing rackets was so much fun. Getting to go to Tennis Magazine box seats at the US Open and all of that. I loved it. But the CEO trashed the company, won 5 International Industrial Design Awards with a new technology and rackets, and he threw them all in the trash. Basically, we hand built carbon fiber, beautiful rackets, and he wanted to make it $5 cheaper in production for a $300 racket, and so he took out these hand-built carbon fiber and put in a plastic insert, which high-level players, we don't want plastic. There's a reason that the rackets are good, and the carbon fiber has a lot to do with it. So, it's frustrating working for another CEO that ended up bankrupting the company, and they've gone bankrupt like 3 times since then, and they're like a shell of who they used to be. They only sell in one place in the United States. When I designed those rackets, we were #1 market share of all tennis rackets. And so, it's just so disappointing to work for somebody like that. And part of the reason I felt I could do it is because I really understand the whole process. I'd worked on patents before. I understand, first, the idea's got to be good. Then you've got to manufacture it really well. And then you've got to, market it in all the right ways. Marketing is such a big part. And so if I'm only involved in the racket design, then, well, I got to go to China and be part of the production. But I was paying attention to what was happening on on either side of me, and all the way to even, distribution, sales, and then even what happens to rackets when they die. So I had been thinking about all these things and what was going wrong in all the steps, and figured I could take it on. But, there's a lot of learning along the way, and the world is different. I did it in the 2004 to 8. And, back then we didn't have social media very much. It wasn't a key part of, we didn't have podcasts, so much has changed. So you have to stay with the times as well and hire well and many, many moving parts.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, but something that I want to highlight that I find interesting is uh, the times have changed, but the principles have not. And
Right.
that's for you listening who haven't heard. That's what Harmonious is. It's the 10 fundamental business principles that are present in all companies at all sizes at all times. And pretty much everything Liz just said falls into one of the 10 disciplines, the principles. So by observing them in a company you were working for, and then going out and creating your own company and your own product, a company around the product, you sense these things are present. And you said one of the most key things in leadership is I hired out what I knew I wasn't good at. So I mean, kudos to you, because most inventors are notorious for trying to do everything themselves, and I see that you have not taken that path, which is
Well,
really
I mean, like
smart.
I said, there's also, you have to know enough about it to hire
Yes.
well. You have to be able to see what they're doing, how they're doing it, and if it's successful. Are you producing the results you want? Even, and I've worked with many people through this journey that, seemed really good in the beginning, and then, couldn't produce the results or understand that results had to come from their efforts that were measurable.
Mhm.
you know, that's kind of key. If you can't produce
A little
results,
bit.
you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put your website on the screen here. And Liz was kind enough to give the Harmonious at Lunch listeners a coupon code. It's Harmony25. The website is cozyzzz.com. And we'll put that in the show notes, whether you're watching or listening as well. With the coupon code, you can go there, pick up your own blanket, your own cozy. And Liz, I want to ask you one last question while that's on the screen here. And it seems like, everything you're saying is very in line with one of the core principles that we teach and we make sure are in place with our clients, and that is the company's navigation. You've said it over and over about your vision. Navigation for us is mission, vision, core values. I can tell and I can sense that for you, like, those are rock solid, 10 out of 10. I wouldn't even ask any more questions about it. How important is that, and has that been for you in developing and building this company, with your hiring, with your outsourcing of things, with your quality control, and just the overall direction of the company? Because if you miss that, I've seen it go really, really bad. But for
Right.
you, it seems like you nailed it right on the head, and everything's going right for you. So just talk to me about that a little bit.
Everything isn't going right. I've had devastating blows through the holiday season, and I've had to, like, really, really step back, analyze, see what is worth saving, what is worth completely letting go and starting over and backing up. And my biggest thing on the lessons is, you fall down, you get yourself up, you brush yourself off, and then you take a really honest look at what happened, and how do I not ever make that mistake again, or that series of mistakes. Because if you're not honest with yourself and really willing to be accountable, then mistakes keep on happening. I mean, in life too, we repeat the same mistakes until we get it right. That's kind of common knowledge. So I know I'll fall down again, but I don't want to make that mistake or those mistakes again. So how do I learn truly from them and move forward and not be afraid of falling down or making mistakes? you know if I don't repeat them, I see that as a win. Plus, I've never heard of a successful entrepreneur say, "Oh, it was so easy. Everything fell into place." You know, you always hear how much of a struggle it was, how close they came to bankruptcy, to, where they finally, the floodgates opened and they were a success. So I'm counting on that.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful answer. And it's not that we're not going to make mistakes and we're not going to fail. Those things are beautiful, and that's how we learn, like you said. But it's having that focus on a singular vision for the company that you can redirect yourself to. So yeah, product failures are going to happen, design flaws, all this stuff,
Or
manufacturing
the
issues. It's
people you hire, that.
exactly, it's all present. It's about how you get back on track. And I just love that through your story, you could just see that that's the path he took, was just continually chasing the vision. So I want to say thank you for being here and sharing your story. I think this is really cool. Again, like I said, we don't have a lot of success stories on the show. It's mostly expert interviews about how to do different things. And it's really cool to sit down with someone who's in the midst of growing a company, building something from scratch, and hopefully changing the world and changing the lives of people who need it most. And that's really, really cool. So thank you for coming, Liz.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Awesome. So, and for you watching, listening, wherever you are, I hope you're subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. Let us know in the comments what you think. And don't forget, in the description, check out Liz's website. Go grab your own cozy, and you got a discount. So go check it out. What do you have to lose, right? Make sure you don't suffer from being overly cold like my wife does. I know I got to pick up a blanket for her as soon as we get off this recording. But this was a fun one. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you on the next Harmonious at Lunch.